Hello, welcome to the Manic Pixie Dream Vlog. I'm your host, Caroline Georges. Welcome. So Jeffrey Ebstein is dead. He was killed. He was fucking killed. That's what happened. You're not a conspiracy theorist in believing Jeffrey Epstein was killed in prison. That Jeffrey Epstein did not commit suicide in prison. He was on suicide watch. Cameras were shut down during the time he died. After I learned this, I called my father. My father worked for the Department of Corrections for many years, working very closely with media. And when situations like the Jeffrey Epstein death would happen, my father would be the person at the front lines controlling the narrative of what went down. During my father's time at the Department of Corrections, there was a man named Israel Keys who was on suicide watch, who successfully committed suicide in Anchorage, Alaska, while on suicide watch. He did this after months of planning. He collected metal and coffee cups. He hid the coffee cups under the bed, and he slit his wrist. Hid his arm on the side of the bed and bled out into the coffee cups. And that is how he successfully committed suicide on suicide watch. Jeffrey Epstein is a very smart man, and I'm sure if he got away with what he was getting away with, if there's a will, there's a way. If he had the will to commit suicide, and he's as smart as he is, I guess there is a possibility of him being able to successfully pull off a suicide. According to my father, correctional officers and prison employees aren't the brightest bulbs in the bunch. And so there is that possibility. But if you believe that Jeffrey Epstein committed suicide in prison, is there evidence to suggest that? Not yet. Not yet, there's not. If you believe Jeffrey Epstein was killed in prison, you are not a conspiracy theorist. You are a reasonable person. You are reasonable in believing Jeffrey Epstein was assassinated in prison. My concern and my worry now is for the witnesses that are alive still, the victims. These women are sitting ducks. What is being done to protect these women? There is going to be a resounding Layla piano exit playing over these women's bodies all over the world if something isn't done to protect these women. By seeing what's going on and by looking at something that's very clearly what the situation is, that Jeffrey Epstein was assassinated in prison, these women are sitting ducks and need protection. These women need to go into hiding. These women need to run. We are so close to justice. Some of the most powerful men and women in the world are going to be taken down for the evil that they have conducted throughout the years, and we are getting so close, so close. We cannot lose this. We cannot lose this. We need to stab these people in the eye with justice. That's what needs to happen. Are these women protected? Are these women going to be alive to testify against the people who have hurt them? Because if they have silenced Jeffrey Epstein with his own suicide, with a fabricated suicide, what is going to happen? If we are actually entertaining the idea that Jeffrey Epstein successfully committed suicide in prison, and that is what is being entertained as the fact of the situation, then what is going to be done to protect these women? Justice for these women is justice for me. Vindication for these women is vindication for me. I take this very seriously, and I see it slipping through my fingers like it has been so many times before. I've been raped, assaulted, molested, verbally abused, screamed at, hacked for no fucking reason. I mean, Justice has always been beyond my reach. Justice has always slipped through my fingers. And I see this happening on the grandest scale possible, and I see it happening. Justice is slipping through our fingers. And the most powerful people in the world who run this evil like it's a fucking game over innocent people who have no power are going to get away with it. These women are not fucking safe. What is going to happen to these women? These women are going to be silenced with their own fucking lives. I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I'm not unreasonable in believing that this is a possibility, that these women are in danger. Jeffrey Epstein was killed. My father worked for the Department of Corrections for 15 years. He told me without a shadow of a doubt Jeffrey Epstein was killed, and there's no other way around it. My father is not an unreasonable person. My father is not a conspiracy theorist. My father is almost 20 years experienced in these sort of situations, and he knows this wasn't a suicide. It was an assassination. You are not a conspiracy theorist in believing Jeffrey Epstein was killed in prison. What are we going to do to ensure justice for these women and to ensure justice, therefore, for me? Anyways, that's my vlog for today. That's just, you're not a conspiracy theorist. You're a completely reasonable person in believing Jeffrey Epstein was killed. Something needs to be done to protect the women that are still alive, that can witness and that are witnesses that can testify against the perpetrators who have conducted this evil for years and gotten away with it. Something has to be done. And I have no power. Like these women who are witnesses, they have no power. They are sitting ducks, and they are in danger. They're not in a maximum security prison, being held in a room, being watched over by authorities, making sure they are still alive. Are these women going to be put into hiding? Are these women already in hiding? How this makes me feel angry, frustrated, upset. I'm so pissed. This was my day in court too, you know? This was my day in court too. This mattered to me. This meant something to me. This was gonna be justice for me. I could taste it. And it happened again. No one's going to jail. No one's going to prison. No one is going to pay for this shit. So many people are implicated, including the President of the United States. I'm not unreasonable for wanting justice. I'm not a conspiracy theorist for seeing a miscarriage of justice on the grandest scale being carried out for reasons that protect the most evil, conniving, maniacal people in the world who own us, who own people. They own women. Slavery is at an epidemic level. human trafficking is at an epidemic level, and I am seeing it happening right in front of my own eyes. The solutions are clear, and and nothing's being done. Nothing's changing. And the people who have power to make things change are the ones who are the most evil. And it's just, I could die. I want to fucking die. I don't want to live here anymore. I don't want to see this happen again. Okay, so what's been going on with me this week? Well, pretty much just this. Well, I'm seeing my friend, who's in the Russian network. I wouldn't necessarily call her trafficked, even though I believe that the men who are assisting her with sex work, assisting her, or are these networks are allowed to run so easily. It's so easy. It's so easy to traffic someone. It's so easy to manipulate someone. It's so easy to find broken women and manipulate them into doing what you want them to do. I know this. It's so easy. These poor women, these poor unfortunate women will not receive justice. And how can we stand for this? As a nation of freedom, as a nation, as a Christian nation, as a nation under God, how can we let this happen? What is wrong with us? What is wrong with us that the most vulnerable are left to the wolves and the most evil are protected? We are all God's children. We are all equal in the eyes of God. And if we are a nation under God, then these women must be valued the same as we value pieces of shit like Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton, Donald Trump, and whoever else is being implicated by the Jeffrey Epstein testimonies. Something has to be done, and I can't do anything. And that kills me. All right, well, that's my blog for today. You're not unreasonable in thinking Jeffrey Epstein was killed in prison. You're totally reasonable. You are not a conspiracy theorist. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Please fight for me. Please stand up for me. Tell the truth. Jeffrey Epstein was killed in prison. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. That's just what happened. Let's move forward on that. Have a lovely day. Bye.